Sagittarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot. My name is Carol, and this is your reading for mid-month April 2024. And so what we're going to do for your reading this month is we're going to look at the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And in the first and second position, we're going to be looking at the issue that you're dealing with right now, the situation you're sitting in. If it's a struggle, a pattern showing up, you know, maybe it's something to do with the relationship or something you need to let go of. And then the card number 2 will show us some, you know, what's obscuring it or maybe what's clarifying the situation. And then in the number 3 position, we're going to look at what you're consciously aware of, you know. If we were to sit down and talk about what your issue is or what you're struggling with, you're going to be able to tell me because that's what you're aware of. But what's most important is number 4, and that's what's coming up from your unconscious for you to heal. And that's something that's sitting in your shadow. And if you're unfamiliar with that term shadow or shadow work, I have a video for you in my description box, and it's one I put together myself. And it's going to help you with you know, if you're interested in doing some shadow work, because really what it is it's digging up our stuff. Because what's sitting in our unconscious or our shadow is actually having a huge impact on our life in whatever situation you're sitting in right now that you need some, you know, help with or clarification on. And yeah, so we're going to look at that. And then in number 5 position, we're going to look at what's needed for resolution. So, yeah, and if I have to further clarify that, I will. And then in the last position, we're going to look at some guidance from the tarot, like what the understanding is or what the resolution is, actually. All right, so I'm going to be using the Light Seer's Tarot to start off with, and then I'm going to clarify it with, if I have to, the Radiant Rider-Waite deck. And then in the end, I'm going to use the Secrets of the Ancestors for an oracle card. All right, so let's get started, Sagittarius. Let's ask the tarot to show me where your energy is right now. What are you sitting with? 1 to 2 cards to get us started. The Emperor card, and I need some clarification for that, please. Some clarification, or what's obscuring that? The Devil card. 2 major arcana cards to start out with. Wow, powerful forces here. Number 3, what do you know about this situation? You know, what are you consciously aware of about this situation? The 5 of Cups lands right on top. What is coming up for you to heal from your unconscious? What's having an impact? And this is what's really impacting everything. And there's too many cards there, so I'm going to start that again. Coming up from the unconscious here. And that card came up like the Temperance card in reverse, like that. At top, we're going to look at what's needed for resolution. What's needed for resolution. The Queen of Wands in reverse. And what is the resolution? What's the understanding? Tarot, guidance from the tarot. Ooh, that one came flying out. 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles. So that was kind of sideways. I'll put that up right here. Okay, let's get started, Sagittarius. All right, so the Emperor comes as the issue that you're sitting with, which is quite interesting. Major Arcana card. Well, Mr. Emperor is sitting here quite comfortable. He's come out twice today already. I'm quite comfortable with, you know, this planet Earth sitting behind him, and he's ready to make his next move. You know, the number 4 is a real stable number, really confident. And he's the one that guards the rules of society. Right? He's the one that and so I'm seeing here that this whole thing about what's right and what's wrong in society, or what you're allowed to do or not allowed to do, like what society considers that as okay or not okay, is what you're dealing with right now. Something here is like causing you to kind of go, I don't know if not sure how I'm going to be perceived by other people, if I'm going to be judged, or something's going on, like something to do with that kind of situation. And the Devil card comes on top to clarify that. Well, the Devil speaks about, there's this real tempting figure here, and so he speaks about all those things that tempt us, all those things that take up a lot of our time, and a lot of times it has to do with like addictions, So it's a real interesting combination here of cards where there's this situation here where you're struggling with maybe doing something, but you're not sure how this is going to be perceived, and it's being covered up by some addiction here that you're dealing with. Like, I mean, we all are guilty of having addictions. I use the word guilty, maybe I shouldn't. I mean, we all have addictions, and we usually know what our addictions are. And so if I'm speaking to you and it's a general reading, so you're going to know what sort of addictions you're dealing with. It could be something like maybe you're doing a lot of scrolling on your phone, something like that. But you're really covering up. I think it's almost like, for me, addictions are like a numbing out of something. So you are really struggling with, how people are going to look at you, or going to be perceived. And you're kind of covering it up with the Devil, with these temptations, addictions. I'm going to pull another card just for a bit more clarification on this, because it's so powerful. And the Six of Cups is coming up, and the Six of Cups is in reverse. And the Six of Cups is my card where you have these, this exchange of cups. And sixes in my deck are all about a giving and a receiving, a winning and a losing, like some kind of a duality. But here it's an inner child card. It's about listening to our inner child, but I'm seeing that your inner child is blocked here. And so that brings up a lot, because sometimes as a child, you would have been told, for example, things that you were allowed to do or not allowed to do. And so when we become an adult, these things that we were told by the Emperor here, by society when we were younger, that we're not allowed to do certain things, it's not right, we're not, people are going to judge us. We carry that into adulthood. And so, and then a lot of times, sometimes when it's almost like, something that you wanted to do when you were younger, something that you felt you wanted to do. It could be something like coming out, for example, in regards to your sexuality, and you weren't allowed to, and so you've struggled with that all your life. And some of you, if that's the case, or something else, you can take on these addictions because it's painful, because it's something that you're not allowed to do. You feel like you're not allowed to do it, and so it's your inner child here is coming up. So it tells me that there's some relationship needed with your inner child to really, get in touch with the inner child to see how they're feeling about this, because sometimes there could be some emotions that need to be felt in regards to the situation. So let's continue on with this. So that's where you're sitting. In the third position here is the Queen of Wands, and that's what's over here, which is the Five of Cups here on the left. And the Five of Cups tells me that you're sitting in a state of really, like, there's these Three of Cups that have been spilled, and you're not even really paying attention to these other cups over here, but it tells me that you're sitting in a real state of hopelessness, almost like depression. Is where you're sitting here right now, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if this addiction card's coming out, you have an inner child here that needs some healing. A lot of times too, when you're younger or you're an adolescent and you're not allowed to do certain things because you know that society wouldn't have agreed with it or judged you for it. When you repress that stuff, that's when you get these addictions, because you're repressing your pain, right? And that really can turn to that anger that you would have had as a young person would have turned into this, this hopelessness sometimes that's sitting behind it. So you are really sitting in this hopeless position. I'm gonna tell me some more about the Five of Cups, please. This position of place of hopelessness that you're sitting in, that Sagittarius is sitting in. And you get the Six of Pentacles, and that's in reverse right here. Six of Pentacles is a card about these beggars. They're getting something given to them by this individual right here, and he's weighing out. One beggar says, I'm worth 3 coins. Well, I'm going to weigh out 3 coins for you. And the other beggar says, well, I'm worth 5 coins. Okay, I'll give you 5 coins. So it's really a question of unworthiness. And so I think here that is very blocked here. And and that's part of, that hopelessness that you're feeling, that unworthiness that you're feeling, because of the situation that you're sitting in right now. And so what needs to heal here? Like, there's something going on here with, this wanting to do something and feeling like what needs to heal? There's something that was blocked from you, prevented, you couldn't do something when you were younger. And so what's sitting in your unconscious? What's coming up from your shadow that needs to heal? Well, the Temperance in reverse is coming up. And Temperance, the Temperance card right here, is all about the middle way. Sometimes it can be a card that says, it's all about waiting, but it's also a card about this whole thing about this is a process. And it seems to me that I'm just gonna take another card before I say some more about this and what exactly this Temperance card is saying here. So the Knight of Wands is coming out, and the Knight of Wands is definitely, my wands are my freedom fighters, and they are definitely a card of, like, it's an adolescent part of us that wants freedom to be real, that wants freedom to be authentic, and because it's a wand, it's freedom to take your life in the direction that you want to take it. And so I'm seeing here that you definitely want to take your life into this direction, and maybe it's something that you wanted like a long time ago to do, but now you're thinking, you know what, this is coming up for me again. And maybe it's been a pattern, and maybe it's been like it comes up, it's an idea that you have, it's something that you want to do, something that maybe wouldn't have been accepted a long time ago when you were younger for whatever reason, and it's coming up for you again. And what you would probably end up doing is pushing it down and numbing it out with these addictions. Because that's what we do when there's pain that's coming up that's associated with something that you weren't allowed to do when you were younger. And so the Temperance card comes out and to remind us, and it says, this sometimes takes time. There's a process here. You need to get at, in order to get back to who you are. This is going to be a bit of a journey for you to get back to that position. Like, you just can't, like, Temperance kind of says, I want something now, in reverse. I want it now. I don't have patience. I want to do something now. And sometimes I think the Temperance card's kind of saying, well, maybe we should just hold off a bit right here and get a better perspective of what's going on for you before you rush into this. It's not saying that, no, you cannot do this, but it's saying that I think you need to just take a little bit more healing around this situation, because it is coming up for you again to deal with. This thing that you've wanted to do when you were younger, you weren't allowed to. Society said it wasn't for, you can't do it. And so it's coming up for you again to deal with. And part of this is if we're dealing with some sort of addiction around this that's been numbing the pain to do with this. I mean, that in itself, sometimes people think that they have to just, quit. And especially with this temperance card coming up, people think that, sometimes you have to go completely cold turkey. Well, it depends on obviously what your addiction is, but there's a real struggle sometimes to give up your addictions right away. But we really have to look at our addictions in a way as to, okay, here's this urge to go towards my whatever it is, your addiction, but to try to really get in touch with those feelings that are behind the reason why you have this addiction. Now let's look at the top part, which is what is needed for resolution here. The Queen of Wands comes up as what's needed, and she's in reverse. Well, the Queen is our feminine side. We all have a masculine side and we have a feminine side. And the Queen in particular, the Queen of Wands, would be the queen of, our authenticity and where we want to take our life. The queen of what our purpose is, right? And so maybe this has something to do with your purpose. Maybe this has something to do with, you going towards your purpose. Maybe you wanted to do something when you were younger and it just was all stifled by people. And so the Queen of Wands is in reverse here. And because she is in reverse, that tells me that there is some sort of anger. And we did talk about the Knight of Wands, because the Knight of Wands sometimes can have anger too. When one of my knights, my freedom fighters, I call them, are held back, they can sometimes have anger or hopelessness, like I see you sitting in right here. And so the Queen of Wands too, when she's in reverse, so I think what's needed here is for you to get at some of those feelings that you are covering up with your addiction, such as the hopelessness you're feeling, the anger that you're feeling, or the depression. Like, those are some things that really need to be looked at and to get healing around. I'm going to take another card for ask for the Queen of Wands. Just one more clarification as to what's needed for resolution. Yeah, well, that's very interesting, because I did say that, you need to get at hopelessness, you need to get at anger. Then the Three of Pentacles comes up with the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is, like I said, in reverse. So when the Queen is in reverse here, she may be feeling some anger and she may be feeling some hopelessness because she wants to take her life in a different direction. Three of Pentacles comes up, and it's a card of co-creation. It's a card of working with somebody usually. But when it comes up in my channel, because this is a healing channel, it often speaks to me of maybe getting back into some therapy or getting some help for getting in touch with those feelings of hopelessness and anger that you have buried, that you're burying with this numbing out. You're numbing out with these addictions. So yeah, maybe it's time to get back into therapy. Sometimes, we've sworn off of therapy. I've done it enough. I'm fed up with it. It's not going to help, And a lot of times what will come in is we'll tell ourselves we don't have the money for it. Biggest excuse that our ego will tell us is, I can't afford it right now. I told myself that a long time ago, and I needed to get into therapy 7 years ago. I'm still in it and I still pay for it. It's just something that I do, and something that I know each month that money's going towards me. It's me. I'm working on my mental health. And so, maybe that's what you need to do, because the Three of Pentacles came up here. So, resolution, understanding. Wow. This tells me a little bit here about your situation. Well, it tells me that the Eight of Pentacles is a card of doing a job that you love to do. It's doing something that you're passionate about. And so what I'm wondering is if maybe you're sitting in a job that you just don't like. It's not what you wanted to be. It's not what you wanted to do, right? But society told you a long time ago, something said that what are you crazy? That's not what you're supposed to do. That's not going to give you the money. That's if you're, for instance, a male sitting in a job that years ago only females did, or vice versa, or whatever. And so you're sitting here going, well, no, now I want to do this job. This is what I've always wanted to do. And so this is what's coming up here. That is the understanding that I'm getting from this card. One more card. Ooh, 2 more cards here for that. I got the King of Cups and the Ace of Swords. Yeah. King of Cups comes in and it says, King is your ego. The ego card. All my kings are my ego card. Where he comes up, he's the king of emotions, and he's like, don't even go there. Don't even touch these feelings of these emotions of hopelessness and anger, and don't even go near those. But I'm thinking maybe you need to get angry. You need to get angry at people that told you couldn't do this years ago, and now you're wanting to do it again. Ace of Swords comes up in reverse. The Ace of Swords, any ace is a new offer from the universe, and it's an offer of authenticity, getting back to who you are, getting back to who you were supposed to be, and what you really wanted to do. And so I think if you start dealing with some of these emotions like anger and hopelessness, and maybe get some help for that, and then you can, and I think this thing that you want to do for yourself, could happen for sure. But you got to do a little bit of work first on these emotions before that new beginning comes for you. So I'm going to ask for a card, and I just got one. It's called the Star card. It's called Spiritual Rebirth here. So 17 for Sagittarius, number 17. Hello, season of renewal. There is sunshine after the storm. You have been through it. Like those who came before, you are more than a survivor. You are a thriver. Others are seeing your beauty inside and out. Being vulnerable can feel emotionally awkward, but allow your vulnerability to be a strength and superpower. Come as you are. Step into the limelight. Be seen. Be heard. Be a movement. You are the star of your own show called life. You are blessed. This is a lush, beautiful, fertile season of transformation for you. You are nourishing the earth, and the earth is nourishing you. Trust your inner guidance as you are perfectly divinely aligned. New ideas are flowing to you. Allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to receive. And I think that's the big thing here. So I see some real movement wanting to happen here. So good luck with this, Sagittarius, and I'll leave your monthly reading at the end that I've done for you, and I'll talk to you next month. Bye-bye.